Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to tonight's Transformation Thursday. Here are the community agreements as always as we gather in this space. To briefly summarize, it's our intention that the space continue to be safe, brave, and inclusive so that we can manifest a future where our families and communities are cared for through the creation and realization of our dreams through intentional advocacy, skill building, and community connection. And in the spirit of BWE values, we believe Native women are the backbones of our communities, emerging as leaders and business owners, weaving together resources to empower one another to manifest change on this journey. And these virtual retreats are an invitation for you to take a few moments to be in community with us in sisterhood as we collectively dream and do. So welcome to the Sisterhood, Martin. We're so honored to have you with us. Our welcoming Martin Guerrero from Square. He is a member of the Small Business and Community Advocacy team. He's going to go ahead and share some learnings on how we can take our brand and businesses online. And I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to our co-founder, Alicia Ortega.
Thank you, Jen. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Thank you for joining us tonight. We just appreciate you taking time out of your evening to be here and be in community with us. Yes, we're super excited to, definitely for this presentation. We love Square and just super excited to share with you a little bit about our speaker today. His name is Mr. Martin Guerrero, as Jen mentioned, a member of the Small Business and Community Advocacy team at Square. And he's an e-commerce specialist with over 10 years in the website and domain name industry. He's been helping Square sellers broaden their customer base with an online presence, providing both on-site and online education programs centered around e-commerce and digital payment solutions. Martin also participates in cross-functional projects supporting Spanish-speaking and Native American small businesses and other community and third-party partners nationwide. And I'm sure many of us are familiar with Square and hopefully are even already using Square. But for anyone who may not be, Square is an awesome digital payments company that has really changed the way we're able to do business electronically by allowing us to, buy, sell, and send money using any Apple or Android mobile device. And they've built an entire business toolkit of both hardware and software products, including Square Capital, Square Online, Square Payroll, and many more, which I'm sure Martin will share with us tonight. So with that, I just want to say thank you to Square and Martin on behalf of Native Women Lead for their partnership and just the support that they've given us throughout the years. They've attended our events, they've been a sponsor, they've just been an awesome partner and ally, and we're so grateful for all that they do for our community and many other communities of color. And with that, my great honor and pleasure tonight to introduce you to the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Martin Guerrero.
Thank you for that introduction. I really appreciate it. You guys make it easy to be partners, right? So my job at least is to find amazing partners to do this kind of work with. So you guys make that super easy. Love working with you guys, and obviously we'll keep continuing this relationship for a long time coming here. So yeah, tonight I really want to keep it conversational. I'm going to be presenting here on, what you can do to get when you're getting your business online, what things to think about, whether it's your first time getting online or maybe you're online and you want to better that, or just some things you don't know about. We'll go over a lot of the basic stuff. And so to help you in your journey here, right, I want you to think about why you want to get online in the first place. What's the purpose of the website you want to build or to have online. So for us here at Square, right, it's crucial that we help our sellers understand the importance of owning their own online store. A couple of key reasons for that. One, when you own your own web store, right, you have full creative control, right? You can iterate on merchandising, how your products look, how you're going to talk to customers that interact with you on the website, and describe and just really have the ultimate vision, control over the ultimate vision. Second, you have control on price, right? In today's field, there's a lot of third-party marketplaces out there that usually charge a commission for finding new customers. But with your own online store, you have full control over price and a complete, control over margins. Third-party marketplaces are a great way of attracting new customers, but once they become a customer of yours, having that central location on your own website, where then you can direct them moving forward as a loyal customer is going to be key. And that brings me to my third point: is you own the relationship with your customers, right? If you're on a third-party platform, a marketplace, they own that relationship. They're essentially a customer of theirs. They're just buying their product, right? But having your own website, having your own central location, you're going to own that relationship with your customer and own the data. So the purpose of your website is really the somewhat obvious reason for what you think a website can do for you, right? So on the left side of the page, or depending on which side of the screen it shows up on for you, I listed some of the more common purposes that I hear, right? Attract traffic and grow audience, right? I want to showcase my products. I want to share what I know. I want to advertise my business. And those are all great reasons to have a website. They don't necessarily help you do anything specific, which is why you want that purpose to really be a goal, right? The goal is the reason why you want to have the website. It's what's going to happen as a result of you having that website, all right? So when I hear someone say, oh, I want to showcase my products, really the goal is to sell your products, right? You want to showcase them in the best light possible so folks can buy them. You can ship them to them. You want to let them know where they can buy it, whether you have a brick and mortar, or maybe you're going to be at a festival and they can see you there, right? It's all about showcasing that. So the ultimate goal is to purchase it. So first up, we're going to go just review some of the basics that really any successful website should have or does have, that makes a successful small business website. And some of these, pretty familiar, pretty standard, right? So your logo, right? If you have one, and you should, it's going to be one of the things that's going to be displayed right away. You want to make sure that logo fits right into your overall brand, especially with the colors, right? A search box. The search box is a big one, especially when it's in the upper fold. And we'll refer to that a couple times here. The upper fold of your website is the part of your website you see or someone sees before they scroll down. So before they do any scrolling down, any clicking down, it's what's there, right? It's the prime real estate. Essentially a queue letting your buyers know that they can search for things right away. If you have it there right away, it's a transparency queue letting them know they can search for something at any time. It's not like things are hidden. They can find it, right? It puts them at ease. The footer, a lot of studies, there's a lot of studies out there on just behavior on websites, and especially this last year with everyone being online all the time. When folks go to a website, they're going to look at the main navigation, the header. They're going to look at that main image, and they're usually going to just kind of scroll down in a Z formation and look at until they get to the bottom, and they're going to see your footer, which is a great piece of real estate for you to add contact information, your social media links, your logo as well, maybe a newsletter sign-up form. And that footer is usually going to go across every single page, but that's just your standard information that you always want them to be able to see. Too many times I see footers on websites that are just empty. So that's just real estate that you really want to take advantage of. Then speaking of social media links, right? These go to social proof, things that are familiar. Especially if they're new buyers, they're always going to do some investigating into your business, and that means looking at your social media. What are you talking about? What are people talking about you? What type of things do you share? What have you shared in the past? Maybe what kind of sales have you promoted? Right? They're going to learn about that. Just having those there, saying, hey, here's where you can find on my social media, makes it really easy for them. Your primary or your header image, right? That's going to be the first image you see, your splash image when someone goes to your website. This is going to be a key piece of content that's going to grab someone's attention when they first go to your website. Really kind of just set the tone, the overall tone for your website, especially if you're selling products. Having a really good product image there, or maybe someone using your product, right? It's going to be really key. It goes without saying, your website nowadays has to be mobile optimized. And most platforms are going to do that automatically now, especially Square Online. It's mobile. It's a mobile first design, so everything we do is with mobile first in mind. Obviously, historically, the number of online sales coming from a mobile device just every year was going higher and higher every year. But obviously, with the pandemic and the huge influx of new online sellers, we really saw that number increase. When we did our year review, we saw over 80% of online purchases were made from a mobile device. So for for people with Square websites, Square online websites, 80% of their sales came from a mobile device. If it's not mobile friendly, you're gonna lose a large percentage of your customers because they're automatically wanting that to work really well and really easily on mobile. But we'll get into some more mobile, later on here. It has to be secure, right? An SSL, secure socket layer. So when you go to a website, like in the Zoom link here, you're gonna see either like a little padlock in the address bar that's gonna say HTTPS, or it might even be green that's showing you it's secure. That scrambles any data that's going, being transacted on the site. Any site that does e-commerce on it, has to have that. Google, Yahoo, Bing, they're all going to penalize you for not having a secure website. They'll show you this site's not secure. They'll warn your visitor that's not secure. They're going to see that and end up leaving. And then standard pages, right? So having your home, your about, your product page, your contact page, right? Things that we're really familiar with, things that we see on any type of website that you go to, right? Having those standard pages, again, making it familiar. There's a social proof. Any website I go to, I know I can see these pages. I'm going to find this specific content, right? That's why all of the websites have that on there. All right, so when you're getting online, right, your address on the internet is your domain name. So we're going to talk about what to consider when you're registering your own domain name. The most common domain extensions, .com, it's king. There's more .com domain names than pretty much all other domain names combined. And I mean, good reason. It was one of the first domain names that existed. Stands for .community. So .com is short for community, the whole internet community, the World Wide Web. Early on, that's what it stood for. .net, .info, .org are going to be some of your other more common extensions out there. Just some tips here for when you're registering your domain name. Right? If you use slang words or words with multiple spellings, it's going to be harder for your customers to find your site. An example I use is the word express, right? So whether you spell it with EX or you just spell it starting off with an X. Imagine if you're telling someone your domain name in person, right? I've got expressflooring.com, and they go, but you didn't get the original one with the E, you did the X, so you didn't say that. They're going to end up maybe at a competitor who has a similar domain name. So trying to keep that as easily understandable as possible. Obviously, with a business card and things like that, you can have the spelling on there, but those get lost, they get misplaced. All they remember the name, they don't necessarily remember the spelling. Same thing with it just being long, complex, right? You risk always misspellings, mistyping. So as short and simple as you can is always going to be, the way to go. Similar to the E and the X and Express, numbers and hyphens are often misunderstood. Right? So domain names can have letters and numbers. So whether it's the number 5 or the 5 spelled out, which one is it? If you don't specifically state that, or the buyer doesn't remember that, they might get an error page, or they may get to someone else's website who's a competitor that registered a similar domain name. It happens. I've worked for some of the largest domain registrars in the world as a supervisor, and I've heard taken a lot of supervisor calls where folks complained that someone registered a domain name that was similar to theirs, and they were losing business because of that. It just goes into trademarking and all of that. I have a whole nother seminar about that kind of thing. Right. So if you don't have a unique business name, you might want to consider maybe using keywords in your domain name. Do some research. What are the keywords that our folks are searching for when they're looking for your business? Right. So maybe if you want to do New Mexico windows or NewMexicoGlass.com. So for like windshield repairs, I said I had a windshield replaced recently, so that's top of mind for me. Right. So maybe you don't have NewMexicoAutoglass.com. That would actually be a good keyword name, right? New Mexico Auto Glass versus, Martin's Auto Glass. Maybe someone already took that. But when someone goes into Google and does a search, they're going to look for Albuquerque Auto Glass or Santa Fe or New Mexico windshield repair, right? If you have those keywords in your name, that's going to be better for your overall search results. And then just choosing a domain name that's catchy, memorable, is essential, right? This goes to your overall branding, the way you want folks to think about you when they hear your domain name. So it's important. I like to tell folks when they're thinking of domain names, they usually think of a few. Register them all if you can. They're pretty inexpensive. I mean, you can get domain names anywhere from $10 to $20 a year. Some places you can get a refund within the first 5 days. So if you find a couple you like, if it's available, I would highly recommend getting it because you just never know. Someone else might register it. It might be a popular name. There's companies out there that buy and sell domain names all the time, and they're always looking for new domain names to register in advance. and then resell them to folks versus, maybe they bought that domain name, they only paid $10 for the year, but now you want that name, they sell it to you for $1,000. They only paid 10, and now they made a profit of over $900. There's a lot of companies out there that do that. So if you find a name that you like, it's available, lock it in. Again, pretty inexpensive to get. If you haven't bought a domain name, I would recommend looking up domain registrars or register a domain name in Google. Most of the big domain companies out there will give you a deal on the first time you buy a domain name from them. I've gotten many 99-cent domain names that way for getting the domain name for the first time with the company. There's some big ones out there that do that. So yeah, just do a Google search for that. You'll usually see some of those offers. So once you have your domain name locked in, right, what are you going to do with it? Number one, you're going to connect it to your website, so you have your own custom branded website. Number two, you can create custom email addresses with it now, right? So instead of having a business card or a flyer with your AOL or your Yahoo address, right, it's going to be my name at mynewdomainname.com, right? So only you can use that domain name, so you can create email around that, making yourself look more professional, right? Just better overall. And then last, once you have your domain name, you have your business name all locked in, create your social media handles to match, right? So like with Square, right? All of our social media handles are at Square, right? All across the board. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, they're all at Square because that's our name, that's our domain name, but keeps it really consistent across the board. All right, so product photography and video. So video, probably one of the biggest things that folks struggle with and things that I see are one of the main reasons folks lose out on sales, because imagine you have a small boutique, right? Someone comes into your shop, they can see things, they can try it on, right? Jewelry, they can put it on the wrist, they can see how it's they can kind of future state what that's going to look like on them, and you could be there to tell them, yeah, that looks great, try this, try that. When they're online, you're not there to lead that conversation. You're not there to tell them that. The content on your website has to do that for you. And images are going to be the biggest way to do that. So always having the highest quality images of your product with the best possible lighting, whatever that means for your specific product, that's going to be what you want to do. We saw a huge explosion in family photographers, wildlife photographers transitioning to product photography because they know how to light a product, right? They know how to take the right angles, and it's just sitting there. So it makes it so much easier than taking a family portrait or wildlife out there moving around. Really easy. So and it's in high demand just because, again, those product photos are very, very important. Like I say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, in this case, it could be worth $1,000 depending on lost sales that you could gain or lose if your pictures aren't great. So look for local photographers for when you're doing that. There's a lot of do-it-yourself kits out there. Amazon sells like product, the photo boxes, like just a white box that you put your product in and you can take a picture in, so there's no background there. Lots of ways you can do that really inexpensively nowadays. So this is my before example, and this one isn't necessarily bad, right? The green background isn't bad, but the reflection within the image is really distracting because the board game itself is like on a glass table, so you can see the reflection there. It makes it a little blurry. It is distracting. So if we take that out, right, the product really stands out. Those pastel colors in the image really become a lot sharper for that, and just again makes it stand out. Now, if your brand is really colorful, sticks out, you use a lot of colors in your branding, using those background colors is great for that to keep within your brand. It's just being cognizant of that. Like that one, green background, not necessarily bad. It was just that other part of it with the glass that was causing the glare. So just some tips, best practices for when you're doing product photos yourself, right? Keep testing. Just take as many photos as you need to, right? All of our phones are pretty much unlimited there. You can take pictures, you can delete them, show them around, get opinions on them. Most phones now have super, super high quality cameras. Most professional photographers. Unsplash is great. We actually, inside of the Square Online website builder, we have a partnership with Unsplash in there. So those are professional photos taken by professional photographers that you can use for free, with no royalties, and you don't even have to put in who took the picture. So yeah, Unsplash is a great resource. Again, just close-up details, showing more than one angle, right? Especially for things like jewelry, you want to show, you don't want to like a bracelet. You don't want to you can just show the bracelet all by itself, but you can also, put it on your wrist so you can see what it looks like on a wrist. So that person looking at that can be like, see that as their risk, right? They can say, oh yeah, that would look great on me. That's what it looks like in person. That's what it's going to look like on me. Cool, I'm going to buy it. Can't wait to try it out. When we talk about video, it's really just the king of content nowadays, right? From all the social media outlets out there. Instagram was a great example that it used to just be pictures, right? It was a place where you posted great photos. Now video is a huge component of Instagram with the stories and just in the posts themselves. And it's a great way to really interact with your customers. Again, when you're not there in person, having these videos is a great way to come across with your product. Educational videos, right? Talking about your product, just how it's being used, maybe even just how you came up with the idea, right? The product videos, showing it showing it in use, what it looks like, maybe showing it how it compares to the actual sizing, right? For scale, like what it would look like against something else. So really giving folks a visual of what your product looks like in the wild. Company or culture videos I've seen a huge popularity increase as well. And that's just kind of the behind the scenes type of stuff, what really goes on at your company or your organization, right? It could be a restaurant that normally on Instagram posts pictures of plates of food in the most professional way, or of how their dining room is really set up nicely. They might go behind in the kitchen and show you, people chopping up vegetables or cooking meat or whatever that might be. Just showing you the background. These are the people that are actually making the food. This is what's really going on, right? Those behind the scenes type of videos are really good. FAQ videos, those are really important, right? You want to definitely let folks know what your most frequently asked questions are and just answer those for them. So again, just removing that barrier for them to purchase makes it so much easier for them. Testimonial videos, really powerful, because even though they're not from you, they're about you, right? So if you have, someone who goes on Instagram and does a story like, hey, I just bought, this necklace from Ari. It's great. I love it. Check it out, right? They go out there, they tag you, and someone sees that, they're like, oh, that's not Ari talking about how awesome she is. That's Alicia talking about how awesome she is. It goes to social proof. That's how we think, right? So kind of like when, if I go, first time I went to Albuquerque, I'm driving around, I don't know where to go. I see a restaurant, a lot of people waiting out there, and my instinct for me is going to be, oh, it must be good, right? It's popular, there's people there, it must be good. Versus this one over here, there's nobody there, it looks kind of dark. Maybe I'm going to stay away from that. I'll wait in line because for me, it's like, oh, other people are telling me it's good, right? So really powerful type of content. How-to videos as well. I mean, that's what YouTube is full of, right? We go to YouTube, I looked up how to change my headlight on my daughter's car, so I didn't have to pay someone to do it, or just how to, super high on the list of searches for YouTube videos. So we'll go on to email marketing. I love email marketing because even though it's been around forever, it still gets the most bang for your buck when it comes to marketing platforms. Just in 2020 alone, over 300 billion emails were sent and received every day. And a large percentage of those are marketing emails, right? So it's really a tool that you can't afford to ignore as a valuable asset. Every dollar you spend on email marketing, you can expect an average return of $42. That's huge as far as return on investment, and much higher than just about all the other platforms out there. So a really well done email marketing program will get you a ton of gains, and not just in new sales, but in followers, in customer engagement, right? It doesn't have to be just about selling, right? It doesn't have to be out sending a newsletter, every week or every month about, hey, here's my new product, here's the new sale, buy, right? Because eventually we become numb to them, right? So when folks start talking about it, should they do email marketing? It's like, absolutely yes. Think about the emails that you get, that you want to receive, right? I have a specific email that I use just for newsletter signups, right? Because I know I'm going to get these newsletter emails there with coupons, with offers, with promotions. I know I'm going to get those. I gave you my email address knowing that you're going to send that to me, right? We went into this social contract. I'm going to give you my email. You're going to send me cool stuff. You're not going to spam me, because if you do, I'm going to unsubscribe. right? And that's going to hurt you in the long run. If you have too many people unsubscribing, that that looks bad. The algorithms out there see that, and then you start to show up more as spam in inboxes. I get the question a lot of, my website's brand new. I don't have a lot of, customers. When should I start email marketing? You can start immediately, right? And that doesn't mean sending out a newsletter immediately. That means having the option for folks to be able to sign up, right? Whether it's a pop-up as soon as you get to a website, hey, for your first purchase, you'll get 10% off. Just give us your email address, or hey, to keep up to date, get all the latest news, stories, whatever it might be, sign up today, right? We've all seen that. We're all consumers as well. We're all on the internet, so we see the pop-ups, we see those, and those are usually more the short-term ones, right? Because those tend to get closed right away if they're not prompted to do that right then and there. So you definitely might want to have that on another page, or even in your footer. Again, just that's so it's always there, and then you can maybe just have that there. Hey, just a reminder, if you want to get our newsletter, if you want to get cool info, you want to be part of the cool crowd, right? Give us your email address. So start right away, right? Have a newsletter sign up. Collecting those emails doesn't cost anything extra. You can just start building up your email list, and then once you're ready, then you can, once you have what you think is an ample amount of folks to send to, you can send that out. In your emails, you want to have calls to action. So that goes to our next point there. So in marketing lingo, you're going to see these as CTAs, calls to action. Right? Again, going back to, you're not there in person. You're not having a one-on-one conversation on the website. You need to tell them what to do. Right? And that's what a call to action does, is to tell them what to do and why they should do it. So an example here, on the Square website, you'll notice the blue button there, start a free online store. It's on a darker background, so the blue really stands out. And it's telling you what to do, right? Start a free online store. It's not a please or a maybe or think about it. It's just telling you to do it right then and there. And it's going to be above the fold, right? Before you scroll down, that button is there. Sure, you're going to scroll down, you're going to find another one, but right off the bat, we're going to have that in a really prominent place. So you want to have them really easily seen and make them stand out, right? And you can get creative with these. I'm sure, again, we're all consumers here. We've all seen them. Folks get really creative with them. They get fun with them. Use your personality, whatever your brand might be, use that to your advantage. These are some of the more generic examples, right? Buy now, shop now, upgrade today. Those are calls to action. They're telling you what to do. Now, the sign up today, VIP members receive 25% off their next order. Right? They're telling you what to do, sign up, and why you should do it. You're going to get 25% off. Really clear, really concise. Cool. I know what I'm getting. You're getting my email address. I'm going to expect that 25% off coupon in my email. All right, social media, a big one. When we talk about social media, and it's immensely popular, and a lot of the platforms now are becoming more and more e-commerce platforms, but none of those can replace your website, right? Which is your digital home. I like to say that your website is the center of gravity for your online presence. That's why I came up with this graphic there to show everything revolving around that, right? Your Instagram, your Facebook, your YouTube. Those are all things that you can use to your advantage, most of them for free, to then get to your website where you're seen as the expert. Google, Yahoo, Bing are saying, oh man, if someone's leaving Instagram, which is visited by billions of people every day, to go to your website, there must be something important here, right? So that's a key indicator for the search engine to see, oh, they went to Instagram, billions of people there, or YouTube or Facebook, whatever that might be, and you prompted them to leave to go to your website. Let's check that out. Let's see what's important there. Why people are leaving one of the most popular platforms on the planet to go to your website, right? So those can be really used in a good way to your advantage. So when you're starting off do your research, right? Don't just be on every single network just to be on there and posting the same content on every single one, right? Find out where your target audience is. If it's just Instagram, if it's just Facebook, usually you're going to need both because Facebook owns Instagram. So if you want to do like Instagram shopping, you have to connect your Facebook account, which connects your Facebook shop as well. So those really go hand in hand. LinkedIn, right? If you're an organization or more professional company, that's probably going to be more where your audience is going to hang out, or putting information out about your organization, events, things like that. But just knowing, your customer base. You want, when you're defining your strategy, goals, as we all know, they all help. They give us direction, right? Having a goal really gives us that direction. They're also going to know how we've succeeded, right? If we have a goal, if we hit it, did we succeed? So what is it you want to accomplish with social media? Shouldn't necessarily just be likes and followers. Those are important, but that's not the end all be all, right? Maybe you want to generate a new certain number of leads, maybe a new percentage of website views, certain percentage of traffic, or maybe you want to make the phone ring for new consultations, right? So many times, right? You want to see how that pays off for you. And then having social media, not just to have, just to post and just put it out there. You want to listen to what people are saying about it, if they're commenting on it, if they're asking you questions. Really a great way for you to engage with your customers. So, again, just make sure it's not all about you. It's not just, buy, sale. It's, information, right? They're following you because they're interested in you. So give them interesting things to read about, to view if you do videos. We talked about the video content and behind the scenes. Hashtag BTS, behind the scenes, is one of the more popular hashtags on Instagram, just because, again, people want to know the real thing, right? If you're a jewelry maker, maybe you're showing your workshop, you're showing, you sweating, you're dirty, right? You're hammering away, you're putting this together, and then you're showing the final, what it looks like. People really want to get involved with that, right? They want to know you personally. They want to know who they're buying from. They're really supporting small business, right? Obviously, during the pandemic, a lot of small businesses were obviously affected, and many had to close down. But folks were really wanting to show support for that. So the more you can do to show them you're a real business, right? It really helps them to follow you. All right, so we talk about shareable content, just kind of breaking down the types of content you can create. All right, again, we're talking about the how-to, whether it's a video demo, a series of photos, or maybe even just simple text. Right, how-to content really valuable to users. Inspirational, you see this a lot with inspirational quotes, memes, things like that, right? Making someone's day with inspirational content. You have emotional content, right? Like the example I have here, if you make greeting cards, right, you could show a kid opening up a greeting card from their grandparents, right, versus reading an email or doing a video call, which have their place too, but sometimes just holding that physical item that someone got them or handmade for them, really shows that emotional connection. Again, with reviews and testimonials, even though you didn't create it, it's about you, so that carries a lot of weight when we talk about social connection there. And then insights, again, we talked about the kind of behind the scenes. Definitely, don't be afraid to share insights. Don't be afraid to get a little personal, right? Show your followers what's behind the curtain, right? Maybe if you're a chef, like what brought up this new recipe, right? The reasoning behind it. Maybe it's a recipe that your great grandmother, taught you, or now that you're honoring her, with this recipe, right? People really want to know that kind of thing versus just, oh, hey, I have this new menu item, come by, I can check it out. They want a reason to do so. So when we talk about measuring success, right? How do you know your hard work is paid off? Because it is hard work, right? Posting, keeping up to date. I mean, it's not easy, especially if it's you by yourself. But if you take your time, right? You take your time to learn it. It can be done really well, and it can pay off. Followers, fans, views on their own, they don't mean too much, but they give you a sense of your reach, right? So let's say you're getting, you've got 10,000 followers on Instagram. Well, now you have 10,000 followers that you can market to, and you know that when you send out an email marketing blast or you send out a story with the link to swipe up to buy now, maybe your closing percentage is 10%, right? So 10% of 10,000 are going to buy. So now on average, my sales that I'm going to get from my following is going to be this much. So now you can budget for how much new product you need to buy or how much inventory you need to keep. Maybe you have too much inventory. Maybe you want to focus on a specific item, right? That gives you more of that sense of your overall reach. Engagement, are they responding to your comment or your content? Are they resharing it, right? Ask folks if they're resharing to tag you in there so you can see it, right? So you can then like it, so they can get their reciprocation there, right? You shared my content, I'm gonna like it. You're gonna get those likes. Everybody's gonna be all happy. Again, clicks in most of the, whether it be a Facebook post, if you have a link to buy, click the link in our bio. We've all seen that, right? That's a call to action. I'm telling you to click on the link in my bio. So you can then go to my website, so you can buy the new skirt that I was just posting because you like it, you want to buy it. buy one for your sister as well. What action are they taking, right? Once they're there, are they signing up for your newsletter? Are they submitting a contact form to get more information? Are they buying? How many sales on average are you getting from that? And you're going to get all this data, right? So when you have your Facebook account, it's going to be a business version, which is going to give you a lot of reporting, right? How many clicks you got, how many shares you got. Your website as well is going to let you know. You can, Google Analytics, you can easily connect to any website. It'll tell you, you got, 100 new views from Instagram. You got 100 new visitors from Facebook. It's going to tell you where your traffic is coming from. So you can see, okay, I posted 10 times on Facebook. I got no visitors. I posted on Instagram maybe the same content or similar content. That's where all my visitors are coming from. That's where I'm going to probably start posting more, right? That's where I know engaging with my content. That's where I'm going to spend more time. It takes a while to build up a following, to get used to what you can do with social media, right? Creating content. That's where I see most folks struggling, and me too. I'm not a designer. What kind of content looks good? How can I make it look good? What are the new trends, right? So yeah, I get it. It takes a bit. There's a lot of tools out there. I use Canva. We're actually here in Charlotte. We use Canva. It's a really good tool for creating Instagram posts, Facebook posting, and of course you can hire designers. You can watch all the webinars that Native Women League puts on with amazing speakers that tell you how to do all this stuff as well. Yeah, Canva, it's a lifesaver, right? I spent some time learning it because our social media team uses it, our designers use it. It's great. So mobile, right? So we touched on that a little bit. We saw over 80% of our online sales for our Square sellers were coming from a mobile device, and just in general, over 50% of all online sales were from a mobile device. We were anticipating it getting to 50%. It's well over 50% now, and not going back ever. So your buyers are on mobile all the time, right? That's the gist of it here. Our own behavior, right? We always have our phone right next to us, right near us. This is where we're looking for everything. Even though I've got a big monitor here, I've got a laptop. What's the first thing I do? I look for something else. So again, mimicking your own behavior. Think about when you had to order a last-minute gift, or order dinner for carryout, or made an impulse buy while you were on TikTok or Instagram, all while you're on your phone, right? So your buyers are all doing the same thing. So when you think about how do you prioritize mobile, and how does that impact your approach to getting online, and why it matters? It matters because it creates a lot of focus, right? So even though I have iPhone 12 Max, right? It's the bigger screen, the biggest one they have. It's still not going to hold everything and show everything that my laptop or my external monitor is going to show. And we're probably multitasking as well. We're going back and forth between apps. So having ways for folks to discover, pay, and fulfill on your mobile site is crucial. Native payment options enabled, like Apple Pay, Google Pay. Most platforms are going to have that enabled by default. Some charge, some don't. I know we don't, but you definitely want to have those, right? Again, just removing barriers for folks to buy. If you have folks that buy with Apple Pay, Google Pay all the time, they're going to be used to that. It's going to just make it that much easier for them to buy. Definitely leaning into your local presence and allowing, if you have a physical presence, allowing for same day pickup, or even using like local couriers for delivery, right? Helping you compete with the Amazons and the Walmart out there, right? They're, again, folks are looking to support local, and giving them those options to find you, to buy from you, makes it really, really easy. When we talk about the user experience in the example here, right? You have one column, right? So folks I see I'm getting on the websites, they're designing, they've got all this stuff on there. On mobile, shrinks that down, everything's on top of each other. It gets really simplified, again, for just making it really easy to follow along, because it just focuses that experience. And then again, you have to focus on what's important, right? Your, speed matters, right? The size of your images, the size of your buttons, those all matter, because those are all things we're going to interact with. So you have to make sure those are all done well. Your phone is aware, right? It's contextually aware. It can help your buyers find you. It can help them get directions to you. One of the most popular Google searches of last year was fill in the blank near me, clothing boutique near me, pizza place near me, right? Local whatever near me was one of the biggest trends in searches last year, because again, folks wanted to support local. I mean, they still do, and your phone helps them do that, right? So having your Google business listing all up to date, right? Make sure that's there. That's free, easy to set up. I highly recommend doing that for any business, because again, Google Maps, Apple Maps, they're going to tell them, oh yeah, there's this boutique right near you. There's this co-working space near you, whatever that might be. they're going to get them to you. When we talk about branding on mobile, right, it can be really simplified for even the biggest companies, right? So an example here, the Nike example, this is from their mobile site, very simplified color palette, very simplified user experience. But then again, right, they actually, instead of the single view, they kind of took up some real estate there to show more items than they did the 2-column view. But again, the Nike red, right, the just in, that's their brand color. That's going to be seen throughout. So they still have that brand portion there. And again, really simple, really easy, but that red that they're known for is on there so you know, again, that it's Nike. Again, when buyers can't come into your store to touch, feel your products, they need high quality images to see what's available to them, right? One of the biggest reasons for online returns is the item didn't look like the picture that I saw. If they didn't buy from you, it's because the picture was terrible, right? I've seen so many of the just, poor lighting, right? You've got other items in the background just to get something up, but it at least has to be, this is your product. If you didn't put in the work to show it in the best light, I'm probably not going to buy it, right? I mean, that's just the facts, right? If you're not showing the care that it takes to get good photos, then I'm probably going to think your product's not that great either. So it really comes across as that. So those images really carry a lot of weight. So I highly recommend getting those great photos. And then it's just the overall experience, right? When you're getting online, you get your website up and running for the first time, go through it on mobile, make a purchase, go through everything, make sure the flow is right, make sure there's not anywhere you're getting stuck or confusing, right? If you have, you can, for most sites, I know you can connect like, Facebook Messenger or any other chat bots where you can pop in and be like, hey, if you need help, let us know, right? We want to help you complete your purchase, things like just that overall, experience. Real brief on search engine optimization, right? Or we'll refer to SEO, right? It's not just getting visitors to your site. It's about getting the right visitors to your site. Not every single person is going to be your customer. You have your customer segment, so be sure and get to those. This is an example of like what a Google search result would look like. And just some tips here, right? Making it easy for search engines to understand what your site is about, right? So the content, or the way you describe yourself, your business, really carries a lot of weight with the search engines because they need to know what your site's about to be able to recommend it. Some resources I mentioned, Google My Business is free. Google Analytics, you can connect to just about any website out there for free. Gives you tons and tons of data. Google are the masters at data. They can give you anything and everything you want to know about what people are doing or not doing on your website. You can also visit us at sellercommunity.com. That's where we have our Square team answering questions. We also have what we call super sellers there. So those are Square customers that have been using Square products and services for a long time. They'll get in there, they'll answer questions, they'll post, articles and things like that. Like my ice cream shop just started Square Loyalty. Here's how I started it. Here's how we transitioned from, paper punch cards to digital. Right? That's coming from a business, not from Square. They're using Square, but it's again a real business that's using a real product. So there's a lot of good resources there. So that's sellercommunity.com.
I have a question, if that's okay. So I'm using another hosting site. How difficult would it be to transfer my domain to Square?
So the domain name itself, that's easy. You actually don't have to transfer your domain name. So like I have domain names registered in like at GoDaddy, at Google Domains, at other places. You can just point it to wherever your new host is. So you can have your domain name at GoDaddy, your website at Square, or your website at Shopify or Squarespace or whatever it might be. It doesn't have to be in the same place.
Okay, cool.
So it's really easy. It's really easy to connect it by like just updating the IP address.
Awesome. And then I would have to kind of rebuild my website on Square.
Right. So yeah, you could, if you have a site up that you have now, you just leave that up. You can build it on Square. You can use like a square.site address to preview it and build it in the meantime, and then redirect the domain.
Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, thank you, Beth, for throwing the Google Garage in there. That's a great resource.
I have a question. What are some common mistakes that you see people making when they're first, setting up their online business?
Great question. So number one mistake I see folks making is trying to make it perfect. They're struggling. They want to make everything perfect. It's like just launch, right? Get it up and running. Get something up really simple, and then iterate on it, right? Keep working on it. But I've seen too many folks that I've worked with, they're like gung-ho, they want to do it. And then to check in with them later, it's like, oh, why is it not up yet? Oh, I'm still working on it. It's not quite right. It's like, there's all this time that you've missed out that you could be there, start building up some traffic. That's the number one mistake. The other biggest one I see is them not hyping themselves up enough on their website, right? Keeping it real bare bones, like just, oh, this is who we are. Tell me your story, right? This is your website. This is where you should be hyping yourself up, talking about how awesome you are, backing it up with photos or images or videos, right? Really doing that, right? Showing people why you're awesome. This is your site. That's where you should be doing that. And whether they believe you or not, it's going to be up to them. And just, but you have to put that out there. So I see like they're about us is like, oh, hey, we do this and, we're based here. That could be, 1,000 other businesses. What makes you different, right? What's your story? But I really see folks just leaving that really bare bones versus just hyping themselves up. But same thing with products, descriptions, right? Like if it's your product, really going into detail of what it is versus just, hey, it's 100% cotton t-shirt. Like, okay, that's a lot of t-shirts that are out there. What's different about it? Did you design the logo? Are you sourcing the materials locally? That kind of stuff. Really, telling folks why they should be buying. What makes that product interesting?
My name is Shani Lucero. I am with Earth and Sky Floral Designs and Gallery. I love Square. My question is I'm rural and sometimes my address isn't listed correctly on Google. It bounces back to a wrong zip code. And so, and I know that a lot of rural native businesses are dealing with that, especially on Square. How can we get that fixed, or who can we talk to? Because I've listed it on Square Community, the question, but never really had a straight answer. And it looks like there's a couple of other people in the audience who have had that issue as well.
I want to get a link to that thread so I can see like what any answers are there, so I can look into it a little deeper. I haven't heard of that issue. I'm actually here. I'm in Arizona. I'm here on the Gila River Indian Reservation in Saskatoon. And so we're like in a newer development as well. So yeah, we kind of have the same thing, right? Like FedEx or UPS will be like, where is this? Like, this address doesn't exist yet. Luckily, our cross streets are pretty major, so we can tell them where we're off of this and this. So, I kind of get that, but I'd want to see, you can just email it to me and I can take a look at it, see what, if anything, we can do about that. Like I said, with more rural areas developing, more rural folks getting online, that'll be something that's we'll see more. So definitely want to get to the bottom of that.
Yeah, I have the same problem here with the ruralness. My address doesn't show up correctly either. But I had a question about if you would recommend service providers. Yeah, just thinking about, rather than showing products and thinking about making it mobile, like how, I guess, are there some things that are a little less, that don't have to have so much focus on if you're a service provider rather than selling a product?
Yeah, so like a service-based provider website, it's going to be a little different, right, than a retailer or a restaurant, where the goal there is to have a transaction. But you're going to, as a service provider, you're going to want a website to be able to talk about your services, certifications, things that you offer, how to book your services, things like that. So you'll want a website for that. As far as payments and things like that, you can do like Square invoices. We have online checkout links that you can do like recurring billing on. You can do gift cards, things like that. We have Square appointments. So if you're booking time, right? So if you're a salon or a consultant and you're booking blocks of time, you can do Square appointments, which for a sole proprietor is free. You can do that as well. Again, like a barber will want to have a website where folks can see them. So this is one of my demo sites. So again, it's a fictional barber shop, right? So you can book an appointment here and here, and then you can see, my fictional barbers, right? Some info about them. You can book now for them. Our Instagram page, some about us, right? Showcasing what we're about, where we're at, and then our email newsletter sign up. Right, so pretty basic components. If I wasn't selling anything, then I would just have it you can learn about me and my services. But I also have like shopping for pickup if they want to order like pomade or combs or anything like that I sell. But the appointments, you can do like book an appointment, block off hour, half hour, hours, things like that, 45 minutes. And they can just book an appointment. It's all online. if you're selling blocks of time or not selling blocks of time, if you're booking blocks of time for services, things like that, Square Appointments would be a good resource for you.
Hello. So I'm not a small business owner or an entrepreneur. I'm actually a marketing strategist. So my background previously was in political campaign management. Those only occur in even years. I've made the shift over to marketing exclusively for smaller brands. So I work for a boutique agency right now. However, I really appreciate that Native Women Lead put this webinar on. I also want to be a resource. So I just want to let all of the other participants in this seminar know I will provide my email address, but I do really want to offer my resources and my intel onto like Google Analytics, website tracking, anything like that I can be of service with. It's a passion project for me. So I wouldn't mind taking on pro bono clients or things like that. So I will put out my email address for you all to reach me if you all are interested.
That's awesome. Thank you. Taylor, to your question earlier, the mistakes people make, she mentioned like Google Analytics. That's one, right? Not tracking data, right off the bat, not connecting like a Google Analytics to the site right away, so they can, have a historical view of their data. That's another mistake I see people make. They add it later on, like once it gets busy, and they didn't have anything to compare it to. Like, oh man, we came from nothing, right, to now a year later here where we're at. So that would be another one.
So I actually have a question to add on to that. So I know that you did post there are a lot of free services we could use, especially when it comes to like monitoring our traffic on our website. And then like you mentioned, photographers to get, more professional images done. Is there, just for your own advice, kind of a recommended budget you would have for someone who's starting their first, business online, is like how much you would want to spend for certain services like that?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't have a recommended amount because every business's budget's going to be different, right? Some may have a large portion of their budget just for that because they're like, that's what we need because maybe our product is a real visual product. Some maybe don't need that much. Maybe they want to spend it on copywriting, right? Getting someone to copyright like your product descriptions or your site description, things like that. I mean, it really depends on the business and whatever budget you have. I mean, you can find those services at just about any budget. I mean, almost all of the Google services are free. That's why I put those out there because they're free and they give you they're kings of data, right? They know everything that's happening out there in the internet world. So they use you can use Google's power to then use that on your website. So those are free resources. Instagram business is free. Facebook business is free. There's a ton of free resources out there.
Does Square charge for having a website or a domain?
So for custom domains, yes. So we have our website builder, Square Online. We do have a free version, a completely free version like that. Toronto Barbers one is on the free plan, but it's got, it's torontobarbers.square.site. So it's going to have that address versus, just torontobarbers.com. So that's a free one. You can do unlimited products, shipping, taxes, pickup, all of that pretty much that you can get on most paid plans. But being that Square Online, it just was really released in 2019. So it's one of the newer platforms out there. We had to be different, right? So like, most of the platforms out there give you like a 2-week or even a 30-day trial. And then after that, it's like usually $30 to $50 a month. This one, for some of those that you pay $30 a month, we give it to you for free.
Oh wow!
Now you can upgrade to connect the domain name. If your domain name's through us, I believe are $18 for the year. It's either 18 or 12. I can't remember. We may have changed recently. So under $20 for the year per domain.
Wow, that's not bad. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you all so much for hanging out with us while we're wrapping up all these questions. But thank you so much because I've learned a lot just from everybody's input. And thank you so much, Martine, for your presentation. I'm definitely going to have to go back and rewatch it again on the Native Women Lead YouTube channel. You'll actually find it at Native Women's Business Summit on YouTube. And so you'll find all of last year's Transformation Thursdays videos featuring, over 20 speakers. Follow us at Native Women Lead on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, support, and love, and your medicine. Heck, so much.
Yeah, thanks, Jen, and thank you all so much for just sharing time and space with us tonight. And thank you, Martin. You're awesome. We love you. It's an exciting new BWE Box program with the Fair Trade Initiative through Native Women Lead that we hope to build into a subscription model and have seasonal and eventually monthly boxes available to you at your doorstep. Boxes of really awesome products native made by Native women entrepreneurs. And yeah, just stay tuned. Thank you all so much. Bye. Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.